I'm at the Stanley County Fairgrounds, just outside of Albemarle, North Carolina, where an outfit called Carolina Grudge is hosting a good old country boy and really country girl event complete with truck tug-of-war and dirt drag racing. This looks like a lot of fun. And I'm definitely digging a lot of these awesome old trucks. But honestly, a truck tug-of-war is brand new to me. So I just kind of sat back and watched the pits for a few minutes. And then I introduced myself to the Poplin family, who seem to be at the center of everything. Dylan and Caleb Poplin are brothers following in their father's footsteps. Dad didn't want to be on camera, but the brothers were more than happy to give me a primer on what's going on.
My name is Dylan Poplin. We call this the Krusty Krab. It's got a little bit of rust on it. Just, almost a hunk of junk. So I'll run in all the classes, 5,500, 7,000, and 8,500 pound class. So this truck's got a stock 6.0 Vortec with a 6L90 in it. This was my dad's truck. He was hauling a skid steer or something. I really don't know what he was hauling, but the hitch just rusted out of it and fell out. So we brought it home, welded a new hitch in the frame, and we've just been pulling ever since. So all we did on the rear end was literally just got dually wheels and put some spacers on it and called it a day.
What gear are you running?
I believe it's geared 410, but it's just got a super low first gear in the transmission. This truck really does good if it's really hot. Real dry. If there's any bit of water on the track or pad, it really won't do much. Honestly, I think we just get lucky sometimes. So everybody has different driving habits. I'll normally go about half throttle and just control it with my brake and just let off the brake as I need to spin more, and then obviously as I go backwards, I'll just floor it. But everybody kind of does it different, just depending on your truck.
My name is Caleb Poplin, and this is my 78 square body that we call the creamsicle, because it basically looks like a creamsicle popsicle. It's got a 3-3 stroker in it that's done about everything you can to it and keep it naturally aspirated. We haven't dynoed it. I'd like to, but I'm only 15 and I can't haul it nowhere. So I'd have to get my dad to bring me, and I'm not sure how he'd think about that. Transmission, we got just a little turbo 350 in there. Actually, this is our first pool with a new one that we put in 2 days ago, because last pool we burnt it up because they do like to burn up a little bit.
What do you run for a torque converter? You run a stock torque converter?
Nah, we usually use just a little bit of a stall just so we can build up into the more higher RPMs with the power before it tries to lock up, so it doesn't just sit on the end of the converter and just burn the transmission up. And then for axles, we just got some little axles geared 456. Well, it's my first year pulling, and I've only came second a few times to Dylan because he just doesn't share first place. But other than that, I've had pretty good success.
As you can see, it doesn't take a lot of expensive, specialized equipment to compete in the tug-of-war. Dylan's ride is an old work truck. And while Caleb's orange and white Chevy may have a built motor, the truck was something he and his dad pulled out of a field and built with components they mostly had on hand. And it turns out that truck tug-of-war is a bit more complicated than I originally thought. It's more than just two guys matting the throttle and disappearing in a giant cloud of tire smoke. As Dylan mentioned, there are 3 weight classes. Competitors add all the weight plates they can to be as heavy as possible while still staying under the weight limit for that class. I thought all the weight would go on the front of the trucks, but they actually move it around depending, mostly it seems, on field.
Usually I'll put more into the bed just because this truck likes more bed weight, But then on the front, we'll just hang it right here on the front weight bar, and we'll strap it to it, that way it don't fall off. Because if it falls off, you're automatically DQ'd.
While there are a mix of dualies and standard axle trucks, the dualies don't have a huge advantage from being able to put extra rubber on the ground like you might think. Another thing is every truck I checked out had an automatic transmission. Apparently so you can slowly roll into the power and get that torque multiplication from the torque converter. So it seems the best tactic is to slowly increase the throttle until your opponent loses traction. Spinning first usually isn't advised, as that causes a loss of grip between the tires and the track. Each matchup is a best of 3, and that creates an interesting advantage for the loser of the first round. Now that's because there isn't an opportunity for the competitors to warm up their tires before the pull starts. So I noticed that the person who realizes they're losing will simply mat the gas and spin the tires through the rest of the round. Now this isn't just for show, it actually puts heat in the tires and improves traction. And as often as not, that's enough to help them win the second round, making for a high stakes knockout third. Like a lot of Saturday night level motorsports events I've been to, the competitors really looked out for each other. You might think that truck Tug-of-War would be really hard on the axles and gears, but it turns out the truth is it's really hardest on the transmissions especially, but also the engines. When a pull begins, they are putting a lot of torque in the automatic transmissions without any output shaft speed. That's a lot of energy going through the torque converter, so the ATF fluid spikes incredibly high. I've been told they can see transmission temps as high as 280 degrees. Engine oil temps can also get pretty high because the engines are also straining, but other than a fan, there's no movement to get air through the engine. So, after every round, somebody's usually got a leaf blower trying to get as much air as possible moving through the transmission cooler and also the radiator. Anyhow, despite being just 15 years old and in his first year in the truck Tug-of-War, Caleb actually made it to the final round in the 5,500 pound class. Thanks, I think in no small part to Big Brother Dylan's coaching. While trying to get things cooled down before the final round, we got a little bit of drama that I thought was going to knock Caleb from the competition before he even got a chance to back into the pit. But that big smoke cloud wasn't a blown engine or transmission. Thankfully, it just turned out to be the feed line for the oil temperature gauge got up against something hot and melted. So his crew just tied it off and staged the truck. Unfortunately, even though Caleb won the second round, he did lose the third and deciding pull against the Galloway's four-wheel drive group. That was Friday's fun. Saturday is for dirt drag racing. But first, let me just take a second to remind you that we've got these really awesome Horsepower Monster shirts on sale, as well as decals in the horsepowermonster.com merch store. Besides looking great, proceeds go to helping me round up the necessary parts to continue the Abomination Corvette build. So if you buy one, thanks a lot. Anyhow, back to the show. Carolina Grudge has several classes to allow as many people as possible to experience getting a blast down the track, including stock gas and stock diesel trucks. But while it may be a ton of fun behind the wheel, watching the stock trucks make runs in the dirt, well, they're fine, but they don't really get the blood pumping. So I went to go see the big guys in the open/mega classes.
My name is Brandon Wilson. This is a rail or a dirt dragster. It was actually a mud racer 30 years ago. My father actually built it. And it's just a 30-year-old play toy. Pretty much what it is. This thing here is ridiculous. It's scary. Like yesterday I was getting scared before I even got here. I was like, damn, I gotta go pee.
And this beautiful buggy is out of the same Galloway's four-wheel drive shop that matched up with Caleb Poplin in the finals of the 5,500 pound class back in the Tug-of-War.
My name's Chris Galloway. This is a night shift. It was built in 1992 by my dad, Daryl Galloway, and Blaine Kilby with Kilby Chassis Design. So actually in 2020 we tore it completely down, repowdered the chassis, and just kind of put it back almost exactly like it was. Still small block, 414, just your old school power glide setup, you know,
Really?
nothing too fancy, right?
What's it like to drive something like this? For somebody that's maybe been drag racing on asphalt in their street car, what's this like?
So this compared to leaving on asphalt is basically just a lot more violent. This is somewhere around the 120, 60 foot time compared to leaving on asphalt at 120. It's just a lot more violent. That's really the only way to explain it, I guess.
Is it hard to stay up on the wheel and keep it straight?
No, not at all. A long wheelbase like this, it's nothing like, you know, this is like driving a dragster. It's pretty much, as long as you take off straight, you're going
Really?
straight, yeah.
And this being the horsepower monster and all, I had to ask about the engines.
It's a big block 454. It's actually been bored and stroked. It's 500 cubic inches. It runs on alcohol. Makes about 40-ish pounds of boost on low boost. We jacked it up to 59, I think it was, 53, somewhere around there, and it just kept pushing head gaskets. So,
Who built your motor for you?
This one was built by Rick Waters, but like I said, was a comp eliminator engine purchased from a friend. But like I say, just a one single nitrous kit on it. We usually
Interestingly, nobody ever wanted to give up any horsepower numbers. They all had a convenient excuse, but I'm guessing they really just wanted to keep their competition in the dark.
no, it's never been on a dyno. Probably makes 2,500-ish in that area.
Have you had the engine on the dyno? Do you know how much power you're pushing with nitrous?
have not.
Everybody wants to keep that to themselves.
Yeah, it's never been on a dyno that I know of, so like I say, it's, you never know.
For the guys like you who are Unfortunately, when it came time for the big guys to run, the organizers decided that the right lane didn't have enough runoff area for them to shut down safely. So, instead of side-by-side racing like everybody else, the open class would just do time runs in the left lane. Still fun, but it was definitely a letdown. And to add insult to injury, I was still in the pit area when Brandon Wilson made his first and only run in the gray buggy. But I guess I'm glad I missed it, because even though I didn't get video of that pass, on that run the lower blower pulley let go. Now nobody was hurt, but I'm still glad I wasn't in my usual position midway down the track. Still, it's pretty unusual for a blower pulley to just disintegrate like this. Leave a comment if you've ever seen something like this before. Now, I definitely plan to catch another dirt drag race, because this made me want to witness some good side-by-side racing even more. Hey, thanks again for watching. Leave a like and comment if you don't mind, and we'll see you next time.